And we are back. This is the latest installment of the What's Next series. This is the Memphis Grizzlies episode. I'm with my guy, ZayTime. I appreciate you joining the channel, bro.
Man, appreciate you for reaching out to me and be a part of something like this.
For sure. Well, first, shout out to Smoke for even recommending you. I had no idea that you were a Grizzlies fan, which is funny because recently I've been seeing before I even followed you on TikTok, I had been seeing your content a lot more popping up on my For You page. And I'm like, I like his videos a lot. I like how you just break stuff down. The one that I think I followed you off of was you were talking about some of the best mid-range players in the NBA. And I just thought that was a great video.
Yeah, that was pretty recently. I'm basically non-biased. Most of the times, I'm just trying to break down good basketball, great quality basketball, regardless if you're on the worst team or the best team. I am a Memphis fan. I work for a blog for the Memphis Grizzlies as a podcaster. So, yeah, I look forward to that this upcoming season. I just got that probably a week or two ago. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
That's dope. I did peep that in your bio. I didn't know if it was there when I first followed you on Twitter or not, but that's dope. That's very dope. Do you have anything else that you want to plug? Tell everybody where they can find you on social media, find your content at?
So, yeah, of course, I got my TikTok. That's _XZAY. And then my Twitter is ZayTime Takes. As well, I got an Instagram, ZayTime Takes as well. I'm about to be more active on my Instagram a little bit more. So yeah, just look out for that if you're trying to find me.
Definitely. Do you have a YouTube? Because I swear I saw you had a YouTube, but I could not find it when I was trying to find all your links for this episode.
I do not have a YouTube at the moment.
Okay, I must have had you confused with somebody else. You should get on the YouTube grind. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think your content would do good over there.
Yeah, this next on my list. Sooner or later it'll be there.
Definitely. I'm gonna be sure to tap into the podcast too, because I like hearing different perspectives from different teams. And I'm interested, how did you become a Memphis Grizzlies fan?
I'm from Memphis, born, raised here. I'm not a bandwagoner. I'm not just hopping on the Grizzlies just due to the fact we got Moran. I was deep in the trenches at one point when Mike Miller was our best player. And this was before the Mike Miller we know of when he was playing for the Miami Heat. This was Mike Miller actually used to hoop, but he's still not the guy that's going to lead you to the playoffs. Thanks. So, yeah, from that rebuild, then heading to the grit and grind days with Zach Randolph, Marcus All, Mike Conley. I used to go to all the Grizzlies games, and it's just energetic. I love it. Memphis is just a huge basketball city, from just the Memphis Tigers and high school games, and then as well I just like supporting that city.
Definitely. I think, Memphis is an underrated hub of basketball. Like you mentioned, all through high school, college, and the NBA. So you was there back when they were kind of ass, if we're just being honest, back when they weren't very good, but that shows dedication for sure, man. So real quick, because the grit and grind Grizzlies, that is one of my favorite teams. They weren't obviously never won a championship, but they were one of the best mid-tier teams that can make a deep playoff run. What was your experience as a fan being able to watch that team day in and day out?
Man, it was electric. I just remember the 2011 season, going to the playoff games. I remember it was the semifinals. I went to an OKC. We was matched up against OKC. I think that game went to triple overtime, and I had to go to school the next morning. But when the FedEx Forum, when it gets rocking and rolling, the thing about Memphis is a blue collar city. If you work hard, we're gonna show support, and that's what the culture is here. Tony Allen, Marcus All, Zach Randolph, they embrace being gritty and grinding, and you're not gonna come out of Memphis without battle scars. Put it as that. So it was just electrifying because every time we would get the dub, they put the effort and work into it. And so when we start saying whoop that trick at the end of the games, it's because we put in that work to whoop you. So yeah.
Definitely, that especially that 2011 team, the way they were able to beat the Spurs, who were the best team in the Western Conference. I think that team had 60 wins, and you guys dominated that series. Zach Randolph dominated Tim Duncan, and it was damn, nobody really expected that, but then I think the following years is like this Grizzlies team is a team that can make a run at any time, just because, like you said, they had that blue collar mentality that can win a lot of playoff series doing that. So one of my favorite teams, and I think this installment of the Grizzlies team is a little different, but they still got that same toughness. So that's of course what we're going to be focusing on today. Is this Memphis Grizzlies team led by John Moran. I'm gonna just be honest. I can admit to my dubs when I get them, but I also have a lot of bad takes. And going into last season, I definitely didn't expect you guys to be a 2 seed, but I saw you guys more as a playing team, because after the offseason, like the Valanciunas trade, I was just not very high on you guys. Be honest, what was your expectations going into last season for the Memphis Grizzlies?
In all honesty, I agree with you. I wasn't expecting to be the second best team in the West. I did see us making to the playoffs, at least like a 6th or 5th seed, but never did I expect us to have this leap right away. Like, we're way ahead of schedule. The season before last, I mean, we beat the Warriors in the play-in and snuck in as the 8th seed against the Jazz. And so, I mean, okay, I'm like, yeah, like we got swept. No. We won one game. Yeah. But I mean, of course, we lost the series. But at the same time, it was like, okay, that was great for them getting experience. Like, they're going to just keep working their way up. But this was a gigantic leap. And honestly, I give credit to like the front office and the coaching staff, because they have trust and belief in our guys. Desmond Bane had a huge leap. I didn't even anticipate him to be the guy that he is now. As well, like they did, like you were saying, the Valanciunas trade, it didn't make sense to me, because Valanciunas was a guaranteed 15 and 10 every single night. And then as well, like he brought the grit and grind culture of like having somebody posting up, remind you of Zach Randolph or Marc Gasol. But Steven Adams filled the role, I feel like, even better than Jonas Valanciunas. And then we as well got Zaire Williams. And Zaire Williams, at times, he didn't even look like he was a rookie. So, like I said, I give credit to the front office and the coaching staff, because they have like their belief behind those guys. And from that, like that's when they made that jump. So
yeah, I think I've learned just not to judge any of your trades until like you see it on the floor. You see how, somebody's going to step up. Like you mentioned that Desmond Bane took a massive leap this season. Or like with the Valanciunas trade, I was kind of at the time, I'm like, well, he was like pretty much sometimes their number one option, a lot of nights. Cause he was, I remember he had a stretch of games, like he was putting up like 20 and 20, like for like a week straight, it seemed like he was going crazy. And it's like, I think what Memphis, like even with the DeAnthony Melton trade, which we'll definitely get to, they have just this trust in their team, the guys that they have, that somebody's going to make a leap. And last year was Desmond Bane's. Dylan Brooks even came out of nowhere, I would say, a couple years ago, like becoming like an 18, 19 point per game scorer. And I think that's the culture. That's what Taylor Jenkins has instilled in this team as the head coach. And that's why I think you can't really put a cap or a ceiling on this team. Like, even though last season might have been an overachieving one for you guys, there's no reason why next season cannot be the same or even better.
Yeah, you're correct about that. I'm just thinking ahead, like you were saying with the DeAnthony Melton trade. Like, it hurt a lot of people. It hurt a lot of fans, including me, seeing Melton go, because man, he has played and he has made his impact for this team. But they feel that other guys are capable of stepping up, especially the people that they drafted this past draft. Like, we got 5 players that we drafted, so I'm looking forward to this upcoming season. So we'll see.
Definitely. Since you just brought them up, we'll jump to the rookies, because you guys did have a loaded draft class, and I think a lot of very good picks, which you guys are typically one of the better drafting teams in the league. What do you think of some of these rookies that you've had so far, and who has made the best impression on you?
The one who made the best impression to me is, of course, he didn't even get drafted. I mean, we signed him as a free agent. That's Kenny Lofton Jr.
Yes.
Off the real, he's very skilled. I don't see how he didn't get drafted at all. I understand, yes, he has a lot of weight on him. He might be a little bit overweight, but he's skilled. If you put him in a great situation in which he follows a strict diet and get in actual basketball shape, he has great skill. Being able to post up, able to see and pass the ball. He's very skilled in that. as well, I like the pickup of Kennedy Chandler. He's from Memphis, so a lot of Memphis people was behind that. But he's also insurance because Ja Morant sort of has like a history of injuries. I'm not going to say he does, but that last season wasn't looking too good. He's insurance, and I like the defensive efforts that he bring. And then like David Roddy, I enjoy watching him from the summer league. Of course, a lot of these guys I didn't watch during college. College basketball is just there's so many teams out here. But David Roddy did show me some things I'm impressed about him. And then the other guys, Jake LaRivia and Vince Williams, I feel like they'll fit in pretty well as the season go by.
Yeah, I'm excited. David Roddy was one of the, I think, surprise first round picks. I don't think a lot of people had him on their boards, but when you watch the tape, he looks very, very good. I saw he was playing in like some pro-ams and he was killing. And overall, like I love the Kennedy Chandler pick because I had him a little higher on my board and you guys got him in the second round. So that's like a steal in my book, like a very good pick. And like we mentioned, like Memphis just has a history of making the right picks. Like Zaire Williams looked like a reach, but he looks like he's somebody who has crazy potential and who could probably have a breakout season just this year. So I'm excited to see the rookies. I'm excited to see who, like from day one, will get the opportunity because you guys still do have a pretty deep rotation. Like bringing back guys like John Conchar, who was very good for you guys at times. Like still a very deep rotation and a lot of guys that deserve quality minutes. Let's transition back a little bit because John Moran had a pretty incredible season, even though he did miss a lot of time with injuries. But what was your impressions of him making that big jump from being a very good player to being pretty much a bona fide superstar?
I knew it was a matter of time it was going to happen. Coming from his rookie year, he showed plenty of potential and a lot of flashes. And it was just, Memphis never had a guy like this. This is a guy that's basically one season, he's going to have an MVP year. Besides the injuries, he was going to have an MVP year. And so I knew that it was going to be a matter of time. He has the confidence, he has the leadership, and then, he has the players around him that support him, as well as the coaching staff in the city behind him. So I didn't expect it this year, but once I saw the tangibles and the guys that he have around him, I'm like, yeah, this team is really set for him. He's an acrobatic, crazy finisher. So the defense has to draw in and bring attention towards him. You put the shooters around him with Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks, John Conchart, DeAnthony Melton past season. Now we got Jake LaRivia. Those guys should be able to score a lot easier now due to Ja Morant. So I know Ja Morant, a lot of people get caught up with his scoring, but he as well is a phenomenal facilitator. Like, it's some amazing passes and amazing eyes that he have. Reading Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson for lobs, and as well pushing the ball up the court off a rebound and a fast break. So I knew eventually, like, this was bound to happen. Besides the injuries, like I did sort of have him like seen as an MVP this past season. If the injuries wasn't there, I really felt like he could have been top 3 in MVP and made first team All NBA. But hey, injuries happen. Hopefully he stay healthy this upcoming season. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think at the time I definitely had him like at least in my top 5. He was definitely first team All NBA for me, like midway through the season. It's just, got to play a little more than I think he played 57 games. And the team, everybody had the notion like, oh, they're like 20-5 without John Morant. Like when you also looked at you guys' schedule when you didn't play John Morant, you guys weren't playing like the Golden State Warriors every single night or the Celtics every night. It was a lot of like, lower tier teams that this team was talented enough. Tyus Jones as a backup is good enough to help get wins again. So I think that notion was kind of blown out of proportion. But what do you think is the next step for John Morant to just round out his game even more? Is it becoming a consistent jump shooter, being better defensively, or is it something else?
Yeah, this upcoming podcast, I was going to talk about John Moran and like what I look forward to him heading towards the future. I would like to see him develop a jump shot, a consistent jump shot, especially in the mid-range. Like I said, it's sort of looking like he's building up a history with injuries. So we don't want that to happen. Of course, that's our star. a lot of it is because, I mean, he's attacking to the rack. He's a phenomenal finisher. But as well, he's only 6'3", 185. That's not a lot of weight. You going against 7-footers in the paint. They're not going to have it easy, allow you to score in the paint easily. So he's taking a lot of falls and a lot of big hits. So I feel like a lot of the screen and rolls, in which there's a lot of the actions that the Grizzlies like to run, he has the wide open mid-range available to him. He has a floater. I mean, that floater is pretty beautiful. But the mid-range, once you establish the mid-range game, like Chris Paul, especially snaking the pick and rolls, like that will elevate his game even more, because the defense, you're leaving the defense in scrambles right now. They don't know what to do. They, like, off that situation right there alone, you can either score, you can kick it out for a shooter due to the fact you're going to draw a defender, or as well, like the big might come up and then you got the easy lob to Jaren Jackson or Brandon Clark or Steven Adams. So I feel like he elevated his game like that. And then as well, like, I would like to see him be a better defender. I know, especially since Jaren Jackson is going to be out at least for like the first 3 or 4 months of this season, it's big now that your perimeter defenders don't get beat because you don't have the rim protection of Jaren Jackson. So I'd like to see him at least play the passing lanes a bit more, and then keep his defender in front of him.
Yeah, the Jaren Jackson news is so unfortunate, like, because he just put together his best season, and then to have an injury in the offseason, like, that's just so unfortunate, man, because his biggest thing is just being on the court. You know, whether it's health or foul trouble, like, he just needs to be on the floor. Because I told the story like 5 times already, but I remember when you guys played the Knicks at home this season, he had a stretch in the fourth quarter where he had, like, I feel like 3 or 4 blocks on back-to-back possessions that really, like, changed the game. Like, he's that good defensively, and when he's locked in offensively, like, he can give you like a big night on that end of the floor too. So it's unfortunate. Who you think is going to be the next guy to step up in his absence?
So yeah, I've been thinking about that. Of course, we have Brandon Clark coming off the bench, and he had a phenomenal playoff run, especially against the Timberwolves. He basically saved us from the Timberwolves. But personally, watching Brandon Clark start in previous situations, it doesn't fit the best for him. I think he's best suited coming off the bench, bringing the energy. He has already established a connection with him and Tyus Jones coming off the bench. They have a pick and roll dynamic. Now, I mean, I don't have a problem with Brandon Clark coming off the finishing the games in the fourth quarters, but just starting, it doesn't look, it never feels right. So as well, I know this past summer league we had our other rookie, previous rookie, Santi Aldama. He played and he proved out it was wrong, because a lot of people was wondering, like, we drafted him 29th, I think, in the 2021 draft. How is he a first pick? And he doesn't look like he's NBA ready. And like, he proved a lot of Grizzlies fans and me wrong. I do wish that he could bulk up a little bit more, because he's a little skinny on the skinny side. But offensively, he's gifted. And then of course you got Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton, he's on a 2-way contract, so you can play him for some games, but at the same time, like, he has a limit. So they have to decide if they want to go ahead and sign him to a full-time contract. But Kenny Lofton, I feel like he's still not in game-ready shape to play a full 82 amount of games. So it's most likely Santi, or as well, they can run a small ball. I've heard as well, looking at lineups, putting David Roddy or Jake LaRivia at those positions. So we'll see what the Grizzlies believe. But personally, I go ahead and throw Santi at the mix. And then if Santi isn't just the best, of course, Brandon Clark.
You think Zaire Williams is going to stick to the bench role again this season?
I do feel like he is going to be on the bench, but I do feel that he has a leap this season. He's taking a big leap. Zaire, they challenged him this past summer league to be a facilitator and be a playmaker. And I feel like he did a great job at that, because you could tell he was uncomfortable at first, but by the end of the summer league, he was making the correct reads, finding open players, and he was looking comfortable. And it was like, yeah, Zaire looks like he's ready. And then Zaire, he doesn't play like a rookie at times. this past season. He wasn't looking like a rookie. He wasn't scared. He was confident. So I have big hopes on Zaire being he's going to be a six man most likely, get starter minutes, but of course coming off the bench.
Definitely, yeah. That's something that kind of moved me about him was like, especially against the Warriors, he just seemed like he did not lack any confidence. Like he would come in and just play his role, knock down some jumpers, play some great defense. And that's what I just think when you have somebody like Ja Moran as your best player, the confidence that he has just kind of like oozes through the rest of the team. I see Luka kind of does the same thing with the Mavericks. It's like when you see your best player is kind of fearless, has all that confidence, the rest of the team feeds off of that. And I think that's what Ja is so good as a leader, even at this such young age. And I want to double back a little bit because I didn't even think about him improving the mid-range game before, because everybody does focus on the three-point shot, which he's shown at times. Like I remember last season, he was like league average for a while, and then it kind of dipped down to like 30%. But if he does get that mid-range consistent, we saw it with Trae Young this year. Like the floater was already pretty elite, which I would say Ja Morant's floater is one of the best in the league. And he improved on that from his second year to his third year. But if he becomes a good mid-range shooter, that's going to really keep the defense even more honest. And like you said, that's going to avoid him having to go to the paint almost every single possession to make something happen. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I would like to see him just take more this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, if Ja Morant learns to be an established mid-range shooter, like it's a lot harder for the defense to understand what's his next move. The triple threat just opens up a lot better, and then guys can score easier for him. So, yeah,
definitely. So we're gonna move to the playoffs real quick. It's me and my dad always have. Every time I see my dad or talk to him, we always have this conversation. He thinks if Ja didn't get hurt, Memphis was winning that series. What's your take on that? Because I'm not 100% sure, but he's pretty firm on that belief.
I'm a little 50-50 on it. A part of me do believe that we could have pulled it off because Gary Payton was out. I'm sorry, Warriors fans. I know that incident did happen, but Gary Payton was their best defender. Even when Gary Payton was there, they couldn't stop Ja Morant. They didn't have an answer for Ja Morant at all. But the Grizzlies, like going once Ja Morant was injured, going forward, everybody was like, okay, well, the Grizzlies were 20-5 without Ja Morant. We beat the Warriors, was it game 5? We blew them out without Ja. We blew them out. But that game 6, I knew it was going to be a battle. And that's when we needed our star. That's one thing I kept telling people. Like, yes, the Grizzlies are still great without Ja Morant. But when you have these really good teams, you need your star to just go ahead and finish the game for you when you need a bucket at the most. And so when I watched the end of the game, they was looking lost, like, okay, who's going to step up? Who's going to be that guy? And that was where Ja Morant was really, really needed right there. So it's a part of me, like, I feel like if Ja Morant was there, we would have won game 6. But game 7 would have been a battle because, of course, the Warriors was going to pull everything to try to win that. I'm a little 50-50 on it. I know what Stephen A. even said going towards game 6. If the Grizzlies win game 6, that the Warriors really didn't stand a chance in game 7 because I do feel like the Grizzlies were going to come out there and whoop on them even worse. Like play a lot more physical and take them out their comfort zone. So I do feel a little bit like, yes, Memphis could have got the dub, but at the same time, I understand, like, Memphis still wasn't necessarily ready. Like, we could have had game 1. We had game 1 in our hands if we let that go away. So we could have an incident like that because Memphis, like what everybody was saying, the Warriors were an elite, experienced team. Memphis, yeah, they're a good team, but they lack the experience. So they could have went 50-50.
Interesting, because I mean, we played them in the finals, and like you said, that experience really shows because you guys had a couple games where you really had the game in your hands. I remember game 4, which was the game after Ja got hurt. You guys were in control of that game until like the final 4 minutes. And we also, like the Celtics, we went through that same thing where we were in control a lot of the times, and then we'll just have a bad 5-minute stretch, and then the Warriors they're going to take advantage of that. So experience was, I think, a big factor in both of those series. And I just really wish Ja didn't get hurt because that changed the series, because we saw, like you said, even when Gary Payton was there or not, they had no answer. Didn't he have like 45 or something in game 2?
Yeah, there was like 45. It was in the mid 40s. I remember that game.
And he was getting everything he wanted. Like nobody could stay in front of him. I remember he made somebody touch earth. Like he was really getting whatever he wanted. And I just wish we could have saw that for a full 7-game series. And it seems like, I don't know if it's a rivalry, but it seems like the two teams don't really like each other. Like they're always talking back and forth. Clay's always taking shots. And I don't know. I want to see this, like, I want to see you guys match up again next season at full strength and see who would really win that series if both teams were healthy.
Yeah, I really do as well. I do feel like it's a rivalry coming up, especially if you got the older team and then a younger team, like older, experienced point guard Stephen Curry, and then you got the new flashy young guy Moran. And then a lot of people forget, like we surprised them that year before in the play-in game. Everybody had Golden State winning, but Moran, he had a crazy game that game. We knocked them out for the play-in. So yeah, it looks like it is going to be a rivalry ahead of time. I know a lot of people are hoping that we can match up against them during Christmas, so we'll see.
Yeah, we would. I'm sure the NBA is going to make something happen to make the Christmas game. But all in all, I mean, a 55-win season, second round exit in 6 games to the eventual champs. Would you say, like, in your opinion, that was a successful season for the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yes, it was beyond a success. I guarantee you, no Grizzlies fan anticipated this season to happen. Like I said, we were way ahead of schedule. We knew that we were going to be great, but we didn't anticipate it to be that this past season. Like, no one expected this. I wouldn't say, a lot of people say everything fell in place for it to happen. I wouldn't say that. They real deal fought for it. Like I said, Ja Morant was out for a good amount of the season. You without your star. A lot of teams without their star, they're not going to win 55 games. So it speaks culture to this team. Like I said, Taylor Jenkins has established a system with the next man up. Like 1 through 15, those guys can play some established meaningful minutes when called upon. So I love that the culture and the roster and what's all being impacted upon this Memphis Grizzlies team.
Definitely, yeah. Taylor Jenkins, I don't want to call him underrated anymore, but I think if I was an NBA player, I would want to play for him just because he seems like players buy into what he's preaching. Like he seems like just that kind of guy. Like people are going to listen to him, people respect him. And he's also just a good coach, X's and O's. And I think, like you said, like nobody, even Memphis fans, didn't really anticipate this season. But just to get that learning experience, but also not to like make a super deep run, like their first real playoff run, which we see some teams do that and then they come back the next year and kind of flop. I think getting to the second round and how it ended will keep this team hungry because, I mean, the Celtics, they made conference finals early on. The Hawks made an early conference finals. And I think that can kind of take the hunger out of the team. But to get where you guys got, I think that's a pretty good spot. And we'll see definitely what happens next season. And we can transition into a little more off-season stuff because you guys didn't make any signings, but you did make some re-signings, getting Tyus Jones back. Talk about his impact. And were you surprised? Because I definitely was that he re-signed. Were you surprised that he came back?
No, I did not. He really did say at the exit interview, like he doesn't see him. He does aspire to be a starter, but he doesn't look at himself as a backup point guard here in Memphis. This is where he has his most success. And then as well, like he's established a connection here. So you have his guys, I mean, Ja, Brandon Clark, especially Brandon Clark, like those two really can start elsewhere, but like they understand their value here. And then again, like he's insurance. Ja Morant possibly can't be injured and he could be placed in that starting role and the offense and everything can still flourish. So he understood his value and how this team really loves him and the culture here really needs him.
Definitely. I think a good contract, I think $15 million a year is the value. So very, very good, man. He came in at sometimes and he looked like he could be a top starting point guard on some teams. Like, That's why I definitely thought like he would at least test the market, but I think first day he re-signed, which I think is a testament to the culture. And like you said, he said he's just very comfortable in his role, which is very good. I think that's why like you guys can trade away D'Anthony Melton because you still have Tyus Jones. And you got a bunch of rookies coming in. You got a bunch of players that can fill in those minutes for sure. You guys lost Kyle Anderson, which do you think that would be a big loss? I mean, he was kind of important at times, but definitely replaceable, if, in my opinion. Do you think so too?
Slow-mo impact is not, slow-mo impact isn't just like it's not thrilling. Like, he does the little things. He's going to do the deflections. He's going to do some nice passes. He will be missed because he was one of our top defensive players, especially with deflections and steals. But I do feel like we drafted guys that can replace him. We get everybody up to speed. His impact will most definitely be missed eventually, but it's not something that like we're just crying or desperate about.
Definitely, yeah. He did do a lot of the little things for sure, but I mean, like you guys had a big draft class, like 5 guys to bring in, so it's like somebody had to be expendable. Real quick, I want to transition before we talk about like some win totals and what your expectations are this season. Like, do you think Memphis should ever get into like the place where they're trying to trade for a star player? Like Donovan Mitchell is the name out there right now. Would you want Memphis to trade for a Donovan Mitchell or a player of that caliber, or are you content with building with the young guys and just letting guys develop?
So a lot of Memphis fans are iffy about this. I mean, I keep up with Grizzlies Twitter. We're so calling like talks with Kevin Durant, and a lot of people were just iffy about it, half and half. Because I mean, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Like, I mean, this is one of the top players of all time. And are you willing to give up like your young core of probably like Desmond Bain, Jaren, Zaire, for someone that's already established as a star? Personally, it was a time that like I was thinking like, yo, if we get Kevin Durant, like that's like an immediate impact, like at least a Western Conference Finals to Finals for the next 2 to 3 years. But I just realized like these young guys have already established a culture here. They love each other. They love playing around each other. They bring the energy and they embrace the city. Doing that will most likely mix upon and break bonds and cultures. Like, yeah, we will get the star. Yeah, it's a huge possibility that we can go to the finals or Western Conference Finals and have an achievable season. But I just feel like I believe in our young guys. Our young guys are really, really established. They're hungry. These young guys, I mean, they're 22 years old and already seeing vast amount of success. Only way they want more is just up, and up. So I know eventually the time will come that they'll make the Western Conference Finals or Finals run, and hopefully they'll bring a title here to Memphis. So yeah.
Definitely. And you never know, really. It's iffy trading for a star because maybe Desmond Bain can turn into a second star. Like, he just made that massive leap. He might have another leap left in him. Like, you never really know. It's always a tough call, but I think you guys are in a good position because if you keep the same roster and you don't go make the big splash, you're still going to be a really good team regardless. Like you said, it's like a family culture there. Everybody loves each other. So no reason to really break that up, I think, unless something just irresistible comes in the trade market and you have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Definitely. Well, real quick, we'll move into some over-unders because you guys are sitting at, I think, 49.5 wins for this coming season. If you were a betting man, not saying that you are, but would you bet the over or the under on that amount?
So yes, with us being without Jaren for probably like the first 3 to 4 months, I'm feeling like we will just be at even. And then from there, even with Jaren coming back, he's not going to be 100%. I'll be honest. I'll do the under on that.
That's
under
tough.
50 wins. Yeah. I as much as I want them to replicate the same amount of success, the initial amount of time of missing Jaren, we will feel that impact. So I feel like we'll just a little bit over. I say a little bit over, but near 500 as well.
Okay, that's definitely fair for sure. You guys also have like the 11th best championship odds. I'm sure the Jaren Jackson injury might be factored into that. But what are your expectations for this coming season? Because you guys overachieved last year. Are you expecting a similar type of run, like a second round, or do you expect a conference finals lead this year?
I expect a conference finals league. Like I said, yeah, we're gonna miss Jaren, but I know when he comes back, like it shouldn't take him long to get acclimated. And then again, everybody's healthy. Moran, as long as Moran is healthy, I feel like he's gonna have a major impact upon everybody playing well, like an organized machine. So we just came off a strong, impactful season. We came out the second round. They should use that experience to really boost them when they go to the playoffs this upcoming season. I know that the West is a little bit more stacked this season. It's more stacked than ever. If everybody's healthy, it is going to be a battlefield. But I still have confidence in the Grizzlies that they can make the Western Conference Finals.
I'm glad you said that. That's why I like your take a lot. Because I've had some guests on there kind of being like, I kind of expect second round. You're saying the West is tougher than it's ever been, but I still think the Memphis Grizzlies will make the conference finals. I like that confidence.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, that's all the questions that I do have. I appreciate your time. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or just plug your channels in again and, tell the people where they can find you?
Like I said, if you want to check my TikTok page, it's _XZay. I post daily basketball content. I'm breaking down plays, highlights, details, underrated players. And then sometimes I go flashback in the past and who remembers. And then as well, please check out my new podcast. Well, a part of SBN Grizzlies. I call it the Core Four. I'll be starring there with some of my other partners, and we feel like we have some great information for you guys to listen to if you're a big Grizzlies fan or you just want to hear more basketball. So, yeah. And then again, I would like to thank you for allowing me to do this series with you, man. Like I'm happy and I'm honored to be able to do this with you, man.
Hey, you already know, man, you're bringing quality basketball content to TikTok. So I feel like we had to have this discussion. We might have to chop it up sometime, just like talk hoops in general, man.
Oh, yeah,
like
facts.
me, you, Smoke, like just get on live sometime, just chop it up.
Facts, yeah, most definitely, especially when the season come back. A lot more to talk about, because, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit dry right now, but yeah.
Very dry, for sure. Well, that's another episode of the What's Next series, Memphis Grizzlies edition. Zay, I appreciate you for joining. All of his links will be in the description. We'll catch y'all next time with another one.